Hello, and welcome to another episode. In fact, it's season 1, episode 11 of the Chiro-Practical Podcast with me, your host, Dr. William Hatten, coming at you from right here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm here with my audacious, my awesome, my alabaster co-host, Allstar. I don't know if she's alabaster.
Did you just call me a bastard? That's a guy from Alabama that ain't got no daddy.
Oh, an alabaster.
An alabaster
sure is. Woo. Well, how are you doing, Miss Allstar? What you up to today?
I'm fine, thick and happy, being better than everyone else.
I love that. Are you ready to stretch some truth and do some crack this week?
I love my crack.
So do I. What is the myth or rumor you have heard this week that's keeping you from your adjustment?
Okay, so it's a little bit of gang violence.
Ooh.
So I hear that medical doctors and medical chiropractors,
Woo. That's not a thing.
y'all both in the medical field,
Okay.
but y'all
They
don't.
don't claim us, though.
Well, Tristan didn't claim his son, but he's still paying. So the reality is that I heard that they don't fuck with each other. Y'all don't get along. Y'all not cool.
That is sadly kind of true.
Stop and say it again.
Well, just last week, I saw Dr. Hatten and some other medical doctor out here. They was like having a knife fight. Remember?
I won. You should have seen that bitch.
Allegedly.
Or,
Allegedly. Call Gabby. Allegedly.
Right, that's right. Where is Gabby? I've got a paralegal on the phone. So yeah, let's talk about it. So in chiropractic has intentionally over the last 125 years set itself apart from the Western medical community.
Mm-hmm.
There was an opportunity in the mid 1900s where the American Medical Association, there was a shortage of there was a shortage of medical doctors rather, because there'd just been 2 world wars and a lot of men had been sent overseas. And of course, they weren't really letting very many women go through med school at the time. So there was a big shortage of doctors here stateside. Mm-hmm. And so the AMA at the time, the American Medical Association, kind of extended an olive branch to chiropractors and said, do you want to come? We'll give you a few courses on pharmacology. We'll give you a few courses on surgery. We'll get you kind of caught up. And then you can come over and you'll basically just be medical doctors. And then that would have effectively eliminated the chiropractic profession because we would have been absorbed into the medical doctor profession.
Mm-hmm.
And chiropractors at the time kind of got together and they thought it over and they said, we're actually really happy being our own independent profession because we believe that the power that made the body heals the body. And we don't necessarily need to prescribe pharmaceuticals. And we don't necessarily need to be doing the surgery because medical doctors already exist. And there are people that you can go to get pharmaceuticals and you can go and get a surgery. And so chiropractors as a whole kind of decided to stay separate. And the problem then became that the AMA dubbed us as competition rather than as a supportive colleague, right? And chiropractors are very good at handling muscle and back pain, right? So good, in fact, that a lot of times, I'll tell you this crazy stat, if you are injured at work and the first doctor that you see is a chiropractor rather than an orthopedist, you are almost 70% less likely to need surgery for the exact same injury.
That is insane.
So let's think about that for a second. If you get injured at work and you go to see a medical doctor, there is a 70% chance higher that you will wind up having surgery to correct your issue than if you went to see a chiropractor.
And is that because chiropractic is more effective coupled with the fact that doctors are billing
That's
for stuff?
Great question. And it ultimately comes down to what we sell. So we sell adjustments, we sell health, we sell wellness, we sell manual therapy, right? We sell physical therapy. We do that too. We don't call it physical therapy because PTs own that word, much like we own the word adjustment. And orthopedists sell surgery. That's what they do. And so that is ultimately what they recommend to correct problems. And that's not a bad thing. That's just the way that their profession works. And so chiropractors today, fortunately, we moved much further past the situation in the mid 1900s and in the 1980s or 1990s, actually, there was a big case, Wilkes versus the American Medical Association, that went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And the AMA lost because they were trying to defame and discredit the chiropractic profession as a whole. And they actually had to rewrite medical textbooks to be less abusive and less destructive towards chiropractic.
But not completely.
Well, you know, the problem
hate them less.
Right. There's still competition, right? And so there are a lot of chiropractors that don't want anything to do with medical doctors. There are a lot of medical doctors that don't want anything to do with chiropractors. But the good fortune is that there are a lot of us, I'd say over half, that work really well together. I work with neurologists, I work with orthopedists, I work with pain management physicians, I work with all sorts of doctors. I worked with gastroenterologists before when I had a patient that had an intestinal issue. And so I love working with medical doctors because chiropractic is not going to be the fix for everything. But I might be the first person that patient comes to because they might have something else going on. And because I see it and I have the opportunity to then refer them to get the right care, why would I not do that? Right. And that's sort of like the story I told you with our two friends that drove up from like an hour and a half south of the city. Right? I saw that there was a problem that needed to be addressed by a medical doctor.
And only you saw it.
It was outside the scope of chiropractic practice.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was my job then to turn around and refer her for the right care. And I work well with a ton of medical doctors throughout the city. So I'm going to call that a half truth. Some chiropractors and some medical doctors don't like each other, but that is not the majority of the profession, of either profession.
The beef has been going on for over a century. If y'all don't get down with the get down and relax and
to settle down.
Yeah, I mean, y'all acting like Bloods and Crips. Like y'all, I mean, what y'all gonna do? Throw clickers out the window? Like y'all gonna do a drive by and throw skeletons out the window? What is this?
It's wild. It's wild. And let me actually give you a story of when I recommended that one of my patients go see a medical doctor. So this lady, she is a good friend, an occasional patient of mine. And she came in because this was actually a summer or two ago. They were out in the pool. She was in her little floaty. She's got a young boy. She and her husband were in the pool. The young boy was in the pool. The young boy decided, talking about sharks and jets, he was going to play sharks in the pool. And so he was swimming underneath her and grabbing at her toes. And of course, the mom is naturally terrified of sharks because why not in this story, right? And so she was getting very aggravated and she was like swimming more and more to the side of the pool. So she was less and less of a target for her kid to mess with her. And finally, he reaches up and grabs her and tries to pull her. And in her kind of quick to action defense tactic, she tried to lean backwards so that she didn't fall out of her pool floaty. And what she wound up doing is smashing her head on the back side of the pool. So poor girl wound up giving herself a concussion. She got dizzy. She started to throw up. She had to get out of the pool, obviously, because she just given herself a concussion and didn't want to drown. And then winds up coming in here about 3 days later because she called her sister, who's a dear friend and common patient here in the office, because she was like, I think I've got a concussion and I don't know what to do about it. She goes, well, why didn't you go see my chiropractor? And she goes, oh, yeah, I do have a chiropractor. So she rolled in. We checked her out, determined that it was a concussion, and I sent her to a neurologist so that she could be monitored by somebody that could really check out her brain and make sure everything was okay in there.
Okay, so you're more munificent than the medical doctors. Got it. So you're
because I actually want what's best for my patients, you know?
That's the zinger. That's the difference. Yep. No. I get it.
Don't get me wrong. I want to make money, you know, I want to have a successful business. I want a thriving practice, but I also really love taking care of people and I want you to get the care that you need.
So basically what y'all have is like a medical sibling rivalry. Basically, like that's what it feels like. Like y'all are constantly one-upping each other. I just did a $30,000 surgery. Well, I did it so they didn't need surgery. By all means, grab that scalpel. Do you, boo-boo? Like it's a very sophisticated, like one-upping competition. Like from what I'm hearing, but y'all, I mean, I don't know. Y'all have so many parallels that are the same.
Totally. And we really, as a whole, should get along so much better. And we just haven't quite made it there yet. But I'm hoping.
What's it going to take? What do you think it's going to take on a large scale, like a public
such a good question.
Forum for the AMA to like denounce what they've said? Or
I think the best way forward for the chiropractic profession is for doctors to unify into one professional organization, just like the medical doctors have the AMA.
Mm-hmm.
We have two major chiropractic lobbying groups. We have the ICA and the ACA, and unfortunately, they are pretty divergent in their viewpoints. And so if our two largest professional organizations and professional societies can't really agree on what chiropractic is and what chiropractic should be moving forward, it's really difficult to then coalesce the support of the public and to create that knowledge and understanding, because one of the groups says chiropractors should be able to do surgery. One of the groups says chiropractors should, that same one should be able to do surgery, prescribe medicine, and should basically be indistinguishable from a DO, which is doctor of osteopathic medicine, or an MD.
Mm-hmm.
So they want us to be the same, but different.
Separate but equal.
Yeah. And then the other organization says, we don't need any of that shit. We've been just fine for the last 125 years. We want to keep on keeping on and stay our own completely separate profession. And so the trick there is for kind of the governing powers that be for chiropractic, for them to decide on one direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once that happens, then our profession will really be able to surge forward in the community and in the country, because people will be able to figure out what we are really doing.
Yeah, I agree. If the chiropractic world looked at it the way that medical professionals do, how they have doctors, how they have nurses, how they have physician assistants, how they have all those different things, but under the same umbrella, everything would be
exactly. So
they need an adjustment.
They do need an adjustment. And I think that brings us to our word of the week.
And you would be right.
Yes. Tell me more.
The word is and.
Wait, and?
And.
Ant?
And.
Aunt?
And. Correct. And here's how you spell it. AND.
Thank you so much. Where can we find our fabulous keyword tracker?
And I'll refer to Dr. Hatten for more information.
You can find it over at my website, www.drwilliamhatton.com. Once you get there, just click on the link that says podcast, and you'll be able to download our keyword tracker and play along. Once you get all of the keywords filled in, make sure you submit it back to us for your chance to win a $200 grand prize. And while you've been listening to today's episode, remember, and is our keyword. You could have gotten your own adjustment right here in the heart of Atlanta at Hatten Family Chiropractic. So make sure you are liking, subscribing, telling a friend, doing all of that, and checking in with us every Wednesday at 12 for the newest episode of the Chiro-Practical Podcast. Bye now.